And welcome back. There is plenty going on right now on Capitol Hill, from lawmakers weighing in on a response to the drone strike that killed American service members in Jordan to Senate negotiations on the border. So let's bring in someone at the center of it all. Joining me now is North Dakota Republican Senator Kevin Cramer. Senator, thank you so much for joining us here on Meet the Press Now. We really appreciate your time. So,
anytime.
Senator, President Biden says he made a decision already on how to respond to the strike that killed those service members in Jordan. What response do you want to see? Do you want to see a strike inside Iran?
Well, perhaps, although, there is that spy ship floating out there in the middle of the Red Sea or the Gulf area that has been an easy target for a long time, and to me the most obvious target, because it's Iran's spy ship. And they're, I'm quite certain, engineering all of this and calling the shots. It would have been the easiest thing to take out a long time ago and sort of get at the head of the snake rather than all this, fiddling around the edges, if you will. So that would be one obvious one. But perhaps something right into Iran. I wouldn't have said that a week ago. But at this point, we just can't continue to project this weakness that only escalates their aggressiveness.
So you're considering something inside Iran. You just said, don't you fear that might escalate this situation?
Well, it's a little late for us to escalate a situation that our weakness has already allowed them to escalate, because they keep responding to our tepidness with more aggression. And then when we do take a shot at one of these small $1,000 drones, we use $1 million missile to do it, which makes no sense. And I get this sense every time they come after us. Remember, it was the 115th attack on in Iraq that finally got through and injured a North Dakotan. Chief Warrant Officer Garrett Illerund is here. Illerund is here in Walter Reed Medical Center. I went to visit him last week and visited with his family and his parents, his wife. He's got a 7-year-old child. 115th attack that finally got through on Christmas Day. And on Thanksgiving Day, he called his wife, Lorna, who's also an Army aviator, and said, one of those small drones got within one rotor length of my helicopter today. Next holiday, now he's in Walter Reed.
And Senator, I want to mention that you have endorsed former President Trump, but we haven't heard where the former president stands on a response to this attack, beyond calling President Biden weak and saying that this wouldn't have happened if he were president. Now, some of the allies who've endorsed him want strikes on Iran. Others don't want escalation. As I said, you've endorsed Donald Trump. Would you like to see him clarify his position?
Well, first of all, I don't need a lot of clarity from him, because when he says that if I was president, they wouldn't have done it, he's got evidence to demonstrate that. He's not the one that was playing footsie with Tehran over, allowing them to have nuclear weapons, for crying out loud, and sending pallets of cash if you'll just talk nicer to us. So, but what his position is specifically, for one thing, he may not have all of the information to cite that specifically. He might be, as strange as it might seem to you, he might be actually respecting to some degree the people that will make that ultimate decision and not signaling what it might be.
And Senator, I want to turn now to the border negotiations in the Senate. Now, sources tell us that the bill would provide the president and DHS authority to effectively shut down the border when migrant encounters reach a daily average of 4,000. And there would also be restrictions on humanitarian parole. Where do you stand on the bill right now?
Well, the two things you just cited are two things in the right direction. But more important than they may shut down the border at 4,000 is they're required to shut down the border at 5,000 per day. And that's a significant difference. The parole piece is very, very important. But the one thing, back to the 5,000 thing, is the ability to turn people around right at the border. This nonsense of giving them a date for court in 5 to 10 years and turning them loose into the country, it's that Title 42 authority that President Trump had because of the pandemic that this deal would provide all of the time. And that's, to me, the key, the ability to do that, and then the mandate to do it.
So would you vote for this bill?
Well, there isn't this bill just yet. What I've explained is what we know from the
what I've described to you so far, what's out there so far, as described, would you vote for it?
Well, if depends on what else is in it. So if that's all there was to it, why wouldn't you take more than half a loaf at this point? But we don't know what else is in it. We have to see the context and what we're giving up to get what we're asking.
Isn't some bill better than nothing? Donald Trump says no.
Yeah, generally speaking, it is. In fact, I would submit to you, to the swing voter whose number one concern is the border, and that's most swing voters right now, or at least plurality, doing nothing sends a very bad signal to them about our seriousness about it. They've already judged Joe Biden as doing nothing at the border except facilitating the illegal transfer of human beings and drugs. So, we've won the day there. I do think that if we can demonstrate movement in the right direction, not just with policies, but these mandates, remember, are significant. And by the way, then Donald Trump, if he becomes president, would have even more authority to turn people around at the border, wouldn't have to rely on a pandemic for that authority. Sure, I'd want to take that deal because I could explain it to the people that are looking for somebody to vote for, who maybe voted for Donald Trump the first time, maybe didn't the second time. And now the third time they're going, show us a solution. This would be the start of a solution.
Senator, what do you make, though, about this argument that Republicans, House Republicans, want to kill this bill just so they can run on this in November?
Well, my view has always been I don't believe in reserving a crisis for a more opportune time politically, because that time may not come. And if it does come, I'd love to have the tools that James Langford has been negotiating and getting Democrats to very reluctantly agree to. So, no, in a divided government, this is the moment when people expect us to compromise and find common ground where we can. So,
Senator, really quickly, I want to get you on the record on this. Speaker Johnson said again today that the Senate negotiated bill would be dead on arrival in the House. Back in 2019, you said this after Trump laid out his border agenda: Democrats would be foolish to not take their seat at the negotiation table just because they oppose the person sitting on the other side. Does that apply to House Republicans now?
Well, I believe it does apply to House Republicans, and depending on, of course, how good the bill is. But when the bill is said and done, in a House that is a 1 or 2 member majority, I think what the Speaker ought to do is put it on the floor. The will of the House ought to prevail here, not the politics of the day. And considering that if you do the right thing and make these significant changes, those swing voters in those very narrow Republican and lean Republican districts are going to look at you and go, thanks for giving it a whirl and trying to get something. So I think it's good politics as well as good policy.
Senator Kevin Cramer of North Dakota, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app, or follow us on social media.